Welcome everybody to Extreme Off-Road Silly Bills, and today we're dealing with the 2022 Ford Bronco Raptor. Now this has 895 horsepower, 825 pounds-feet of torque from its now 4 litre twin turbocharged V6 engine. The car itself now weighs 4,323 pounds, still has all-wheel drive and its off-road suspension, but it now has more grippy off-road racing tyres, and it can now do 0 to 60 in 3.446 seconds, 0 to 100 in 7.034 seconds, and go to a top speed of 185 miles an hour. So yeah, that's more than 2 seconds quicker to 60 than it was originally. It's more than half the time, less than half the time to get to 100, and it can do about 43 mile an hour quicker at the top end. And yeah, it's got more than twice the power. And yeah, it's not far off twice the torque either, so which is despite this using the same engine as the standard car had. And yeah, stat wise it's pretty good. Off-road capability is great. The braking and the launch and the acceleration and speed are all fairly good. Only really the handling that is an issue, but given that this is a far lighter off-roader than a lot of other off-road SUVs and the like that we've had on this series, that might well come in handy. And even though it's got a lot of power, certainly in comparison to what it could do originally, it's not going to be the most powerful off-road vehicle we've had either. So yeah, all of that is going in its favour. Another thing is the fact that I have lightened this quite a considerable amount. It's about it's 1,410 pounds lighter than it was originally. So you can basically see this as being the Ford Bronco Raptor Superleggera, because it's got lighter doors, it's got no rear spare tyre, and even though taking the roof off, as you can do in free roll, doesn't lighten the car, certainly helps keep up with that aesthetic of being as lightweight as possible. So yeah, proper lightweight off-roader now, in comparison to what it could be standard, that is for sure. And even sounds like a rally car with that V6 engine and the anti-lag with the twin turbos. So yeah, let's see if we can beat the original Bronco, i.e. the standard one that is on this game that we have of this modern version. That managed a time of 3 minutes 29.177. I take that time with a little bit of a pinch of salt, because it was one of the first cars that we actually took out on this series, given, you know, it was the cover car, or is the cover car for this game, or one of them at least. And yeah, I was hardly going to delay getting that round this course. So yeah, being one of the first, I was at the time still getting quite used to the route. Still a decent enough time, and it's hardly the worst time that we've had on this series, despite being one of the first. Hopefully this can do even better. Opted to keep the original engine and just fully upgrade it because, well, I just thought it would be a fun thing to try out. And the engine isn't half bad in its standard form, with in excess of 400 horsepower, so yeah, and upgrading it is giving us nearly 900, which is hardly a subdued amount of horsepower for a car in this series. And I also like the sound of it as well. Large cubic capacity V6s aren't something you really see anymore. Most of the time the maximum is a 3 litre. Obviously we used to, back in the 2000s and mid 2010s, have large V6 engines, you know, the Nissan 370Z or the 350Z for instance had nearly as big a V6 as this one does now. They didn't have turbocharging or anything like that. Even though they had a decent amount of power, they were far from the most powerful for an engine of that size. You could certainly get smaller engines from the same period that had turbochargers in them were more powerful. So yeah, the twin turbos in this are certainly a big part of why this car has as much power as it does. Handling wise, it's been fine, no issues at all. Does feel far more agile than you might expect for a car of this size and weight. And yes, we are faster than the standard Ford Bronco that we took way back at the beginning of this game. But not by a million miles, at 3 minutes 26.618. As I said, the standard Bronco did 3 minutes 29.177, so that's just under 3 seconds behind us. So yeah, we're not a million miles ahead of that, and therefore we aren't massively high up on the leaderboard. We are in fact ahead of a Bentley Turbo R, the 1990 Subaru Legacy RS, the Polaris Eraser Pro XP, the Hennessy Velociraptor 6x6, the McLaren GT, the Audi TT RS, and the Cadillac XTS Limousine, as well as same year Ford F-150 Lightning Platinum, which is the electric pickup truck from Ford. But we are slightly behind the Aston Martin Valhalla concept, which was also one of the first cars that we took out on this series alongside the Ford Bronco, as well as the Sierra Car 700R, Subaru Brat GL, Mini John Cooper Works GP, Dodge Magnum SRT8, and the GMC Jimmy. So yeah, which again was another one of the first vehicles that we took out on this series. So yeah, by no means lightning fast, but it's completely troublesome free. Sounds really nice as well. Like I said, sounds like a rally car, which isn't something you might expect for a car of this type. And yeah, it's just generally fun to drive. Not quick by any means, but still fun to drive. And yeah, quicker than the standard Bronco that we had already taken out on this course. So yeah, well worth getting though this car. You can get it by getting 20 points in the festival playlist, so not very much points at all to get a brand new car to the Forza series. And yeah, it's well worth getting because it is a fun car to drive. Nonetheless, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.